Welcome to part 7 of the FG training. So what we're going to do now is go to the CPT, open it, and start with a blank wire sheet. You'll see all the kits are installed, the FG BACnet kit is installed. Make sure they all equal. That looks perfect. What I always do is I like to always have a separate folder for everything I do. So I just name this BACnet, and inside the folder I then add a BACnet service. Add object, go down to the BACnet folder and select BACnet service. You have to get this right or it will not work. Okay, on the right we have the properties. As you'll see, everything is disabled by default. It's assigned a MAC address of 11. You can change this to whatever you want. Let's call it number 2. And let's set the baud rate to 38.4, and let's enable the MSTP. When you do that, the orange light will start flashing. I'm going to show you a video of an example in a few minutes. The two lights have just started flashing, so now it's communicating with another FG32 Plus over BACnet MSTP. So what we do next is we add a client, because this is the client. Let me just remind you what client means. Client means we will be scanning the network so that we can manage other server devices. A server device is a controller that serves up its BACnet points as either read and read-write. The client discovers them and brings them in and is able to manage those devices. So the setup I've got here is one controller is a client, which is the one I'm doing now, and I've got the other one set up as a server. So if I enable the BACnet client, we'll go true, we'll go OK. It says down there, now it's OK. If I double click, I can now discover everything that's on the network. Now, what I'm going to show you in the video as after this is that all the lights have to be the same. Sorry, I don't mean that. The two orange lights have to flash and all the devices have to electrically be the same. So you see it's discovered device ID 15. If I say subscribe, what it's done here on the left, if you look at BACnet client, it's created a controller called EasyIO F. You can rename that, it doesn't matter. If I double click on that, you'll see that there's nothing inside it yet. But it does capture the name, EasyIO FG32/20. Again, you can change that at the server level. So what we've done is we've discovered from the BACnet client, we've discovered a server device, and that is also an FG32 Plus. Now, if we go back to here now and double click on the device, we're able to go and discover all the points inside it. What you can see here are two FG32 Plus controllers. One of them is acting as a BACnet client, which is managing the other one that is acting as a BACnet server over BACnet MSTP serial connection. Now, see the two lights flashing? You can certainly see it on the right-hand controller, and you may see it on the left one, but they are both flashing, and that means we have a good electrical connection between the two. This is very important when you're adding any BACnet devices to make sure the electrical connection is correct. If these two lights are not flashing, the FG client will not discover the MSTP server devices. So please check the baud rates, make sure the connections are correct, and get those two lights flashing beforehand. So the discovery is now finished. As you can see, it discovers everything in the controller. What we want to look for though are the ones that we've named. So I'm scrolling down and you will see in my server in the other controller, I've added many commonly used types of set points and readings. So if I wanted the warm time set point, subscribe. I want the outside cooling set point, subscribe. If I click now on the server device here and just do arrange the objects, you'll see I have two objects coming in now. And I can now link these to the other logic by doing the link manager as I showed you before. Now, everything I've shown you is documented, and it's under the FG documents. Go back to your EasyIO folder, go to user guides, FG series. You'll see here we've got BACnet 2.1. That explains everything that you're going to need. See that? So in conjunction with this video and that user manual and a device that you can test, I'm sure you can work this out. So finally, what we're going to do now is go back to the BACnet folder. We're now going to add a server. So the controller can be a BACnet server and client at the same time. So to give you an example, let's say you've got a Niagara head end or another BACnet system head end. That could then be the client and we can be the server, even though we're also a client to an MSTP device below us. So let's just do that. We go to BACnet. We now go and look for a BACnet server network. Click on that one. Give it an object ID. You can make it anything you want. It could be 202, say. And then enable it. And then underneath it, we start adding some objects. So what we could add is a BACnet server AV device, AV. So that could be just a reading of a temperature sensor that the client above us will be picking up from us. And you would just just enable it, give it an instance number. We can start at 0. We're going to call it temperature. You can go up to 23 characters here. And this is what the client will see when it discovers us. Okay. And just for simulation, what I could do is just add a ramp there. And just link that to N16. Then just enable it true. That is what you would do. And again, you would link that as deemed necessary. Now I'll show you a little shortcut as well. Let's now go and delete what we've just done. And if you remember in our library, just restart the station though, because it clears out the cache and just realigns everything when you're cutting and pasting BACnet. So it's starting again. The orange light, the TX light has now gone out because I am no longer a BACnet service until I add one in. So if I went to add user library this time, went to training examples and added BACnet starter, save and restart again, not reboot, just restart. Just restarts the Sedona VM. And open that. You will see now we have the service up and running. If I change that to 38.4 and change the MAC, I don't know, just pick 5 say. And I will get my orange lights flashing again and we will be up and running. But what I've done is I've already built in a server into this. If you look underneath it, there's a server, but this time We've got lots of points, typical points that you would use every day. So what I've done in this video is shown you how you build it up, but equally you could just copy this one in and just drop it straight in. One other thing, when you're using the client, there is one setting you need to be careful with or be aware of. Let's just do a BACnet client in here. And that is to just check on your service here. Just be aware of these APDU settings, because when you're the client, you do sometimes just need to modify those depending on the server devices that are sitting below you. It all sounds very technical, but it's not. You can Google it. But generally, it is kept fairly simple. So good luck, and thanks for listening and watching.